Today in our show, the legendary Zinedine Zidane officially returns to the dugout. Meanwhile, London Arsenal is preparing a massive double transfer worth $150 million while simultaneously putting Gabriel Martinelli up for sale. As Mikel Arteta clears out the squad, the bosses of Fenerbahce have landed in Manchester for an urgent buyout of Marcus Rashford and Pep Guardiola and the England national team. We talk about all this and much more right now. London Arsenal continues to work actively in the transfer market and is preparing a double blow to reinforce its attack. Negotiations for the transfer of the 24-year-old Greek winger of Belgian club Brugge, Christos Tzolis, have entered a decisive phase. As reported by insider Fabrizio Romano, the player is so thrilled by the idea of moving to the reigning champions of England that he has strictly instructed his agents to block any offers from other European clubs. He has fully agreed on personal terms and is waiting for the green light from the Londoners. Mikel Arteta views the Greek as the ideal tactical replacement for Leandro Trossard, who moved to Besiktas. Last campaign for Club Brugge, Tzolis registered phenomenal statistics, scoring 22 goals and providing 29 assists in all competitions. Arsenal legend Thierry Henry has already publicly praised this choice, calling Tzolis an explosive player who is absolutely not afraid to take players on. The transfer fee should be around 40 million euros. This deal completely suits the Gunners, as they have just sold the 31-year-old Trossard for 20 million euros and, with a small extra payment, secure a much younger and victory-hungry winger. At the same time, it is vital to understand that the purchase of Tzolis in no way cancels negotiations for the primary summer target of the Gunners, Morgan Rogers. These are two entirely different and parallel processes. Rogers is being bought for completely different tasks, as Arteta sees him as a super versatile player capable of operating in midfield and on the flanks behind the striker. Progress in this direction is also colossal. Arsenal has almost fully wrapped up talks with Rogers' representatives over a 5-year contract and salary level, and the player himself is highly keen on the move. According to Ben Jacobs, Arsenal is currently preparing its first official bid to Aston Villa for Rogers. The Gunners hope to reach a compromise and close the transfer for a sum under £100 million sterling. The Birmingham side previously tried to demand a record £130 million sterling for the England international, pointing to the crazy prices of their competitors, but the Londoners are determined to drive the price down. Negotiations between the clubs are expected to accelerate significantly immediately after the conclusion of the World Cup, as Arsenal aims to wrap up the deal for the English midfielder as quickly as possible. In parallel to this, another high-profile winger is preparing for an exit from the London club, 25-year-old Brazilian Gabriel Martinelli. Sources in England and Germany confirm that the Gunners are ready to consider selling the player during this summer window. The decision to part ways with the player looks like a completely logical step by the management. Last season, Martinelli suffered a significant drop in productivity, contributing directly to just 5 goals in the Premier League. Arsenal highly hoped that Gabriel would put on a brilliant performance at the World Cup in America with the Seleção national team, which would have helped significantly boost his transfer value. However, the Brazilians crashed out in the round of 16 against Norway, and the winger himself failed to show his best football at the tournament. Since the Londoners are now rebuilding their attack and have new priorities for the left flank, Martinelli risks completely losing playing time at the Emirates. Intermediaries have already received word from the London club that the Brazilian's transfer value is set between 45 and 50 million euros. The main contender for the player is Bayern, who has been tracking him for a long time. Interest is also being shown by Manchester United under the guidance of Michael Carrick and Newcastle United, which is searching for valuable options to reinforce the left flank of its attack. Inquiries regarding Martinelli's situation were made by Italian Juventus and Roma, but the player's salary proved an insurmountable obstacle for the Serie A representatives. At Arsenal, the Brazilian earns around 7.5 million euros a year, and no one in Italy is currently ready to pay that kind of money. Fenerbahce has launched major negotiations to sign Manchester United's 28-year-old winger Marcus Rashford. The management of the Istanbul club is trying to pull off this high-profile transfer in the shortest possible time frame, with several highly interesting nuances behind the scenes of the process. Immediately after closing the transfer of Mason Greenwood, the Fenerbahce bosses Cihan Kamer and Oğuz Çetin did not return to Turkey, but flew directly to Manchester. There, they are holding meetings with the Manchester United hierarchy to agree on the transfer. Since Rashford is not part of the long-term plans of the Manchester side, the club is ready to sanction the sale of their academy graduate. The Turkish giant is ready to offer 40 million euros for the player, which completely satisfies the English side. The Istanbul club is trying to act with maximum speed to complete their squad before the start of the new season. However, the main problem remains the desire of the player himself. Last season, Marcus spent a loan spell at Barcelona, where he became champion of Spain. Rashford expected the Catalans to buy his contract for the stipulated 30 million euros, but the Spanish side decided to save money and signed Anthony Gordon and Karim Adeyemi. For now, Marcus is in no hurry to give his consent to a move to Turkey. He continues to hope for offers from leading European leagues, particularly from Spain again. Write in the comments whether Marcus Rashford should agree to a move to Fenerbahce. The era of Didier Deschamps with the France national team, which lasted a long 14 years, is officially coming to an end. Following the French defeat against Spain by a score of 0-2 in the World Cup semifinals, the process of appointing a new head coach was initiated behind the scenes. The third-place playoff match on American soil will be Deschamps' last at the helm of the national team, and immediately after the final whistle of the World Cup, the long-awaited era of Zinedine Zidane will begin. The French Football Federation has already prepared all the necessary documents. The president of the organization, Philippe Diallo, agreed on the details of the contract with Zidane back in the spring, but the signatures were delayed so as not to disrupt the team atmosphere during the tournament. Zinedine himself has shown incredible loyalty to his dream. According to the reputable publication L'Équipe, over the last 8 months, Zizou received dozens of offers with crazy financial terms from English Premier League clubs, Saudi Arabia, and Bayern. However, the Frenchman turned everyone down during the initial phone calls, as he wanted to coach only the France national team. The verbal agreement between the coach and the federation has been in place since February, and now lawyers are finalizing the last details regarding Zidane's coaching staff. The official announcement and grand presentation of the new manager are scheduled for next week, immediately after the conclusion of the World Cup. It will be really interesting to see if Zinedine Zidane can repeat his legendary club success with Real, where he won the Champions League 3 times in a row, as working with a national team and a club are completely different things. Legendary Polish striker Robert Lewandowski has joined American Chicago and has already made some noise during his presentation. The star goal scorer immediately teased the local journalists and fans for their specific attitude towards the name of the favorite game of millions. With a smile, Robert expressed his lack of understanding as to why people in America still use the word soccer. "I don't understand why you say soccer instead of football. It's football, you don't play it with your hands, but okay." This funny moment immediately spread across social media and set a wonderful tone for the forward's American stage of his career. Lewandowski's move to MLS is an incredible reinforcement for Chicago, as the team secures one of the best and most consistent strikers in modern history. Drama is unfolding in the English press after the Three Lions suffered a painful exit in the World Cup semifinals, losing 1-2 to the Argentina national team. This agonizing result has instantly undermined the position of head coach Thomas Tuchel and triggered talk of his immediate dismissal, while the figure of Pep Guardiola has already emerged on the horizon. English media are literally furious over the tactical decisions of the German specialist. In the 55th minute, Anthony Gordon put England ahead, but in the 71st minute, Tuchel made a cowardly decision, taking off the goal scorer and bringing on defender Ezri Konsa. The attempt to park the bus turned into a disaster. In the 85th minute, Enzo Fernandez equalized. And in stoppage time, Lautaro Martinez, assisted by Lionel Messi, snatched a ticket to the final for Argentina. Fans accused Tuchel of cowardice. especially since he had also dropped Phil Foden and Cole Palmer from the squad before the tournament, and they are now demanding the termination of his contract, which runs until 2028. This crisis creates the ideal conditions for the arrival of Pep Guardiola. The legendary Spaniard is currently a free agent, working only as an ambassador for the City Football Group. Insiders confirm that Guardiola views the England national team job as his great long-term goal, as he knows the capabilities of the local players perfectly and adores English culture. The leadership of the Football Association has long dreamed of inviting the Spaniard. In the coming days, after the third-place playoff, an emergency meeting will be held in the association's boardrooms to decide Tuchel's fate. If the German is sacked, the bosses will do everything in their power to reach an agreement with Guardiola, even if they have to appoint an interim coach for the autumn matches so that Pep can take over the team at the beginning of 2027. Write in the comments whether you consider Thomas Tuchel the main culprit behind England's exit to Argentina, and whether Pep Guardiola can finally bring the creators of football their long-awaited gold.